In the age of technology, everything is moving toward the internet. Buying sneakers at resale value is no exception. Back in the day, sneakerheads would use online forums like Nike Talk and other forums on Facebook groups to buy sold-out sneakers. They would make a post on the forum about a shoe or comment on someone else's post and then meet up with them locally to buy the sneaker. Over time, sneakerheads have moved almost entirely to the World Wide Web. This has eliminated many of the risks people buying and selling shoes in person would previously face, and ultimately simplifies the entire process. Definitions. Resale value. The price a shoe goes for after it is already sold out in stores. StockX. An online resale market for buying and selling sneakers. Sneakerhead. Someone who is deeply interested in buying and collecting sneakers. In the past, sneakerheads would log onto Facebook and search through sneaker groups for hours until they finally find the shoe they're looking for in their size. Then the buyer would have to direct message the seller and wait on a reply. In most cases, the seller would take several hours and even days sometimes to message the buyer back. In this scenario, the seller took several hours to reply to the initial message. Next came the negotiation. As you can see, the buyer and seller went back and forth multiple times on price before finally coming to an agreement. Finally, came time to meet up. At this point, the buyer and seller had worked out a set time and place to meet up at a local mall, but the seller never showed up or replied to the buyer's messages. This left the buyer dissatisfied and voided the entire deal. The outdated way of meeting up with someone through Facebook has many cons and few pros. There is too much reliance on human interaction. Sellers can take days to respond or not even respond at all. It's entirely up to them. There is also a huge safety risk when meeting up with a stranger in person. The seller could steal the buyer's money and keep the shoes, or on the flip side, the buyer could steal the seller's shoes. There also runs the risk of being scammed by users asking to use PayPal invoices to complete the purchase rather than cash. This allows the seller to receive the money with no obligation to come through on their half of the deal. The third issue of Facebook meetups, as seen in the video, is the seller or even the buyer can just not show up entirely. This is a huge waste of time for both parties and a major disappointment. Although there are many cons to Facebook meetups, there are some pros. Because the buyer and seller have direct contact, they can negotiate on the price more freely and better deals emerge for the buyer. Meeting up through Facebook also eliminates fees charged through online purchases, which allows the seller to sell the shoes at a lower price while still profiting the same amount. This is also beneficial for the buyer because the seller will be more comfortable with selling the shoes at a lower price. Facebook meetups also allow the buyer and seller to receive the shoes or payment much quicker rather than waiting on shipping or processing time with online systems. Sneakerheads can now buy shoes that have already sold out in stores online entirely from the comfort of their own homes. There are thousands of websites that allow you to buy new sneakers at resale value, but StockX is one of the best. Once you create an account, all you have to do is log in and begin your search for the latest and greatest sneakers. On StockX, you simply search your desired shoe and select your size. From there, you have two ways to buy. You can either place a bid, which allows you to put in any offer and the seller can accept your offer and sell you the shoes, or you can select buy now and purchase at the lowest listed price. Next, you just fill out the shipping and payment options and order your shoes. After you purchase your sneakers, the seller ships them to an authentication center where they are then authenticated. After this authentication, the shoes are shipped to the buyer's home. This process only takes about a week. The modern way of buying shoes online is much safer. There is no human interaction, which eliminates the risk of being robbed or scammed. Buying shoes online through websites like StockX also removes the worry of receiving inauthentic sneakers from the seller. One feature that StockX offers is their authentication process. On StockX, once you purchase a sneaker, it is then shipped to their authentication center in Detroit and authenticated. Then the shoes are shipped directly to your home and the money is released to the seller. There is also a fee charged to anyone caught selling counterfeit shoes on their website. This highly discourages the sale of fake sneakers and allows the buyer to buy stress-free. Another positive aspect of websites like StockX is their wide variety of shoes ranging in almost every size imaginable. Because there is such a large collection of sellers, there are more shoes available and shoes are more easily accessible in any size. This allows the seller to just search their shoe and pick their size rather than searching through Facebook posts for hours at a time. StockX even has a section where you can buy watches and handbags. This truly shows how versatile StockX is. Even though buying sneakers online through StockX is safer, there are some cons. Many sneaker resale websites, including StockX, charge high fees which drive prices up and take away from the profit of sellers, which also causes buyers to pay more. This is something that isn't done on Facebook. Also, because there is no direct contact between buyer and seller, there is less negotiation involved and prices are firm. The only other downside to buying sneakers online is waiting about a week for the sneakers to be delivered to your home. Because StockX is safer and more simplistic, it is a better choice when buying sneakers at resale value. You may pay more, but you avoid the risk of being robbed, scammed, or receiving inauthentic sneakers. Even in the age of technology, some people are still stuck in the past and continue to still use methods like Facebook for buying sold-out sneakers rather than websites like StockX. Both have their pros and cons, so you're essentially choosing which option better suits your personal needs as a buyer. If you're more concerned with a speedy transaction rather than safety, then maybe Facebook meetups are for you. However, for the modern day buyer, the safety aspects, stress-free shopping, and a wide variety on StockX make it a better option when buying sneakers in the 21st century.